Hello and welcome to this quick overview video on why Hammock is the best solution for landlords who are trying to get themselves ready for making tax digital. Now, when you start with Hammock, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to add your properties and your tenancies into the software, which just takes a few minutes. And then you're ready to start tracking your bank transactions. And to do that, we're going to jump across to the transaction screen. So this is where you would connect your bank feed. You can connect multiple bank feeds if you need to, or you can actually upload your transactions via a spreadsheet if you prefer. But most importantly, Hammock is designed to work for landlords who still have their property income and expenses in their everyday personal account. And if we look at this account here, in fact, you'll see there are lots of personal transactions in here, and that's fine. The way Hammock works, Hammock assumes everything is personal unless you categorize it. So you just need to categorize there's few transactions which actually relate to your properties. Now, that's not to say it wouldn't be even easier if you can separate this out, but if you don't get around to it, you're still covered. Now, I want to show you how the tracking of transactions works. And I'm going to show you two examples, both rental income, but I know some of you will collect rent directly from a tenant and others will collect rent via a letting agent. And I want to show you how you handle both of those. But let's start with the tenant who pays directly. So I've got a tenant called Tom Butland. And so I'm going to use the keyword filter and I'm going to start searching for the name Butland because, like a lot of tenants, he puts his name in the payment reference. So when I search for that, it brings up all of Tom's rents. And I've chosen to start my bank feed from April 2024. You can choose to start April 24 or April 25. It's completely up to you. But once we've got these transactions, we just click on any one of them. And then this box will open up on the right-hand side asking us to categorize it. So we're just going to select rental income. Then we're going to link it to the relevant property, 25 New Church Road, and then link it to our tenant for Tom and click save. And you can see just like that, that tracks your first transaction. But over here, if you want to find and track more rent from Tom, we can just use this search and track button. And now everything has a little tick box. So I can just select them all and update in one go. And not only that, now that I've tracked, over a year's worth of rent for Tom, because the system now knows what Tom's rent looks like, from next month, it's going to start tracking itself. And that's the same with any of your regular expenses as well. Once you track your mortgage payment, it will start to track itself. Same with anything else regular and recurring. The only difference is when you use a letting agent, because obviously the money that hits your bank account is already net of fees. So when you create the tenancy, you tell the software that for this tenant, the rent is £1,200. I use a letting agent and the agent charges 10%. And then now when I try and track that rent payment, so if I go back to May, this is the payment that's come in from my letting agent. So my tenant, Mary, she paid £1,200. But after the agent's taken their fee, I only get 1,080. But I do the same thing. I click on the transaction. We're just going to categorize that as rental income. This time it's for another property, 141 Corn Street, and for my tenant, Mary. But because when I added that tenancy for Mary, I've told the system that I use a letting agent. When I click save, Hammock automatically splits that transaction into 1,200 of rent and 120 of fees. And any month going forward, when my agent pays me that amount, it's going to automatically track it and split it. The only time you really then have to do anything is that those months where maybe you had to pay for some maintenance or a gas certificate. And if I jump forward to June, you'll see that's exactly what happened. I didn't get the full amount. So with this one, the system won't track itself, but all I do, I click on it. We just track that as rental income. Select the property and the tenant, except this time Hammock tells me and notices this is less than expected. Would you like to create an expense for the difference? So we just say yes, and then I'm going to put that through as maintenance and repairs because the agent kept a bit of my side for those repairs. So I just click save, and now Hammock still splits that out, but it's rent, fees, and repairs. But once you've got your transactions up to date, the rest of Hammock flows through automatically. So if we jump back to the property page, you'll see here that in this example, I've got 3 properties. So for each property, I can see exactly how much money I'm making. It also pulls in the image from Google Street View. So it looks nice and you'll see the picture of your property there. But most importantly, you can also tell Hammock how you own the property. So if you've got any shared ownership or joint ownership, Hammock can handle that all within one license. In this instance, we've got a property here that is jointly owned between Mike and his wife Mary. Then Mike's got his own property, which is in his personal portfolio. And then his wife Mary also has her own property in her portfolio. So essentially, Mike and Mary here, married couple, they have 1.5 properties each, but you can manage all of that within one license. And then when your accountant goes in to take your tax figures, they get a different tax statement, everything separated between Mike and Mary, so they can make those MTD submissions for each person from the same license. Now, on top of that, Hammock wasn't built for making tax digital. So yes, it does solve for it, but there's lots of other features you're going to get in here as well. And I'll just show you a couple of them. Starting with at the top of my screen, I've got an alert there that one of my insurances is out of date. The reason the system knows that is because down here in the documents section, you can upload all of your important compliance documents. So all your gas certificates and EPCs and other certifications, you can have them all stored in one place, and then Hammock will start sending you reminders when they're coming up for renewal. You can also get live property valuations straight through the platform in about 3 clicks. So you can get an idea what your portfolio is worth, what your loan to value is. Hammock will also highlight any of your tenants who have fallen behind in the rent. Because you're tracking rent against a specific tenancy, you can go into that tenant and you can see a full breakdown month by month of what they owed and what they paid and any difference. You can even see what upcoming payments you've got or what your rental yields are, so you can start analysing how your properties are performing as investments. So if you're a landlord and you need to get ready for making tax digital, this is why Hammock is the best solution.